All right, good morning everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Sunshine State Outdoors. Wade and I are actually back out on my parents' lake. It's a private lake here in Central Florida, and we're actually crappie fishing again. I have been at it hard. The crappie bite has been amazing. Here in Florida we call them speck. Last time we did this, we kind of had more of like a family affair. We had the cookout, we had the, a bunch of people on the boat. Today we're going to do more of like a how-to crappie fish video. I'm going to kind of show you how I rig my lines, kind of what we look for, what I look for. Any day now these fish are going to start to spawn. They may already have. It kind of happens overnight when the water temperature gets warm. If that happens, they move into really shallow water, so we're going to kind of have to adjust how we fish. But lately they have still been sticking to the deep holes, big schools, kind of hanging in the 15 to 12 foot range. This lake's about 8 foot deep, but there's a couple big holes that go down to about 26 to 30 feet deep, and that's kind of where we're targeting. So we're hoping to fill the cooler today, show you guys some tips and tricks that hopefully help you be successful in the water yourself, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes. In our last video, you guys saw us doing a lot of jigging, which we're going to do today, but early in the morning and also late at, or not late at night, but right at the end of the day, dusk, minnows are number one. So we've got a bunch of minnows here. I got these minnows last night. They're still alive and well. So what we do is, if I can catch one, is I tail hook them right through the tail like this. You can hook them through the mouth or through the, through the lips, but I think the tail works better. Crappie aren't very picky. They're aggressive. If the bait's in front of their mouth, they'll eat it, which is kind of why they eat anything. They'll eat a jig, they'll eat a spinnerbait, they'll eat a worm, a cricket, minnows, but it has to be right in their mouth. So it's important to get that bait to where they are. So you could cast a bobber on the surface, and if they're 14 feet down, they're not going to go looking for your bait. So you want that bait to be presented right where they are. So the trick is to find where in the water column the crappie are hanging out. So that's what we're going to do. Once we find that sweet spot, we're going to fill that cooler. All right, first cast just like that. Wade's hooked up.
Oh, nice one.
Didn't take long. That was about 4 seconds.
Literally.
Yeah, and that's a nice one. That's a slab.
So
throw that baby in the cooler. Can we bring the cooler? We're idiots. We forgot the cooler. All right, we'll get that in the cooler and we'll be back with y'all. See it like straight up to the top. Oh. Hooked up, baby. It's just absurd, dude. This is like the best crappie fishery in the freaking state of Florida. People would pay big money for this. Ooh. Is it? A bluegill? Get out of here. We're not going for you.
That's a decent bluegill.
Very decent. What are you doing hanging out with Mr. Crappie?
Hanging out in the coveted pocket.
Yeah, I guess he's... Should I keep him? I guess, I don't know. Probably not. Oh. My hook came off. Shoot. Have to retie. Sometimes that's a problem with super low test line, is it breaks easily on your horse side.
Hooked up. It's a mega.
Why am I not hooked up? Right next to it.
Oh, it's a slab. It's a slab, daddy. Another nice one. Oh, it feels good to be on the board. If you guys watched our last crappie video, I didn't catch anything. I didn't catch a single freaking crappie. One of your minnow's still alive. Good and faithful, sir. Go back to surviving.
Grab me a minnow.
Yeah. You find the smallest minnow possible.
Hey, small minnows work great.
It's not about the size of the minnow.
It's not. It's about the heart.
It's about the heart.
It's about the fight in the minnow.
It's got that dog in him. Dude, I'm like a little kid when it comes to fishing.
Love it, dude.
No, I just get not the love and the passion. I meant I get tangled up every freaking 10 seconds.
That too, but I mean, you wouldn't think catching crappie is that fun because they're not that big of a fish. When you get light tackle, that's a freaking blast. Cool move too. Oh gosh, wade's hooked up again. Gosh, I'm a loser.
Oh, this is a good one.
Recap. The wade's that's his spot. Oh, he's coming.
Making a run to the boat.
He's coming.
Oh, dude.
That's a trophy. Take that to Bass Pro.
Mike's getting it handed to him.
Supposedly the master of this. This is my lake.
Another one in the boat. Looks like good old crappie fillets for lunch. Why do we have like 80 rods?
First few times before I figured it out, I was putting out like 4 baits. At different depths. But now it's so good, I don't have to do that. Oh, man. Oh, gosh, I'm hooked up with a big slab. That does feel like a pretty good one. Oh, slab daddy. They just school up right here in the hole. It's like
They got nowhere else to go.
yeah. Pretty good one. I wouldn't quite say it's a slab, but it's a 10-incher. Okay. We swallowed the hook. I will get my pliers out, get that baby out, but that'll eat. That's a good eater. Wade's on. It's gonna be a quick morning, guys.
Oh, give head shakes.
Big head shake.
Oh.
Another good one. Another healthy good one.
That'll eat.
All right, guys. So we've had a pretty good start to the morning. I think we got, I don't know, close to maybe 10, 7 or 8. I want to take a second to show you what we're using. So as I explained earlier, these fish have not gone to spawn yet. It's going to happen any day, but right now they're still hanging in these deep pockets. So we're using minnows, we're using a bobber. So the question is, how do you get your minnow 15 feet down in the water while using a bobber? If you think about it, normally when you're like shiner fishing or whatever, you have the bobber tied to the line. You have about 3 feet of line with the minnow, with the shiner on it, you cast it out. Well, you can't do that if you need the bobber to be 15 feet away from the bait. So, and you'll see this from a lot of guys who crappie fish if you ever research it, but we use what's called a floating bobber setup. And it allows you to easily cast that bobber, but also let the bait drop down to the desired depth. And the benefit of it is you can have multiple rods at different depths. So when I first started doing this, I would have a bobber or a bait at 5 feet, a bait at 10 feet, a bait at 15 feet. Well, I figured out that the 12 to 15 feet range right now is what's working best, so that's what I'm doing. But I'm gonna show you how to rig the floating bobber setup. So what you have to do is you have to create a stopper. So the bobber's free floating, but then when the bobber hits that stopper, it locks and the bait drops down. So how you do that is you tie a slip knot of like braid, or I don't even know what you call it, but line that's thicker than your fishing line. So what you can do that by buying the line and, you know, wrapping it around your finger and tying a slip knot. I don't do that. What I do, and honestly you don't need to do that either because it's super simple, you can buy these, wait, can you get close up of that real quick? They're these pre-set up bobber stopper rigs. So basically you have a slip knot that's already set up on this little black tube, and you slide the line through it, goes right through it easily, and then you slide it to your desired depth. So I want it to be about 12 to 15 feet, so I'm going to pull the line through. Not an exact science, but I want it to be pretty deep, so I'm going to slide it through. When you get to where you want to be, you just slide the line off this little tube. The tube comes right off like that, and then you grab both ends and you pull tight. You really need to pull super tight though, because you don't want this knot to move. If the knot's not tight, when the fish gets on it, the bobber will hit the stop and then just move the stopper, and the bobber will never go under. So I take a pair of pliers. It'd be better to have 2 pair of pliers, but one's good enough. You grab it, and well, these pliers are not very good, but if you can get a good pinch on it, you pull it tight. So like that's really tight. That's not gonna move. I mean, it'll move with a lot of force, but not on, I mean, a fish is still gonna pull that bobber under. Then you cut off your tag end. As you see, you got a lot of line, a lot of string still on there. So you cut it off. If I had scissors, it'd be easier, but I don't. That's one side. Then you cut off the other side. Without cutting your line. So there's your bobber stopper. It's just on the line. And you can actually reel that into the reel, which allows you to get as much, I mean, you could have this go 50 feet if you wanted to. Now for a lot of bobbers that have little tiny holes, that's enough. But just to be on the safe side, we have these beads that also slide. So now that I've got that on there, I can find the end of my line, which again is quite a bit. And you slide. Normally when you buy those little, when you buy those pre knot rigs, they come with beads, but you can also buy these beads. If you go to any store, Amazon or even like Academy or Bass Pro, in the bobber section, you can get a pack of like 100 of these for like $2. So you slide the bead on, that's free floating. Then you take your bobber, which I just had, so right here. So this bobber has a hole. You might be used to using the spring-loaded method, but that will lock the bobber onto the line. So you use the hole so that the bobber is free sliding. If I can get it in there.
Get it in the hole, Mike.
I know. It's a small hole. Just typically desirable. And so see that bobber? It's just free floating. That's fine. When it hits that stopper, it's gonna stop. So then you just continue as per normal. So then you're gonna tie your hook on, which I mean, with these small hooks, you can pretty much just use any knot. I mean, these fish aren't pulling hard, but I still just use a fisherman's knot. So give it a couple twists like that. It's the same knot you'd use for tying on any type of a hook. Lick it, put it through the hole. So you make a hole right there, put it back through the hole. If I can get it, pinch it off, and then find that once it's through the hole, if I can get it, small hooks are tough.
There goes your ring necks.
Oh yeah, look at that. So through the hole, and then back through the hole that you just made. So I went through the hole like that, back through the hole you just made, and pull it tight. And that's going to be perfect. Clip the tag end, and then you're going to take a couple split shots. Normally I would use a big split shot, but I've had more luck using 2 smaller split shots. I normally do it about 6 to 8 inches from the hook. I mean, you guys know how to use a split shot. You just pinch it on there. Use a pair of pliers to get a good crimp. Like that. I'm gonna put another one on. because you do need weight to pull that bait down to the desired depth. And that's how you do it. And I'll kind of explain the benefits. So you've got the bobber stopper. So when you cast your line, that weight is going to pull the bait down. The bait's gonna drop from the bobber like this down to this, and the bobber is going to continue to slide up the line like this until it hits your bobber stopper. So you can literally allow the bait to drop as deep as you want. The good thing is it also makes it super easy to cast a bobber, because you're not casting a bobber with a ton of distance from the bait. That's way easier to cast than having your bobber, you know, 3 or 4 feet from the bait. Because when you do that, your bobber is going to go swinging out like that. This is easier to cast. Also, you can use this rig even when you're not needing to get down super deep. Because think about it, even if you were fishing 2 or 3 feet deep, yeah, you could put the bobber at 2 or 3 feet from the bait. But if you're trying to cast in the lily pads, it's easy when the bobber's like this to just flick it out like that. You know, instead of having to, you know, boomerang it out there, it's easy to spot fish when your bobber is super close to the bait like that. So that's what we do. I put the minnow on there, cast it out, and then that bait will drop and that bobber will slide up until it hits the stopper, and then your bait is suspended at whatever distance you want. And like I said before, when you're just starting out, rig up like 3 or 4 rods at different depths. So start at like 5 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet, cast them all out. And once you start getting hit, and you'll notice that the same rod's gonna get hit every time, and you'll find where in the water column those fish are hanging out. And then you can rig up the rest of your rods at that depth. And that's how you do the sliding bobber method, which right now is super effective. So it allows you to bobber fish at deep depths. And that's crucial for what we're doing right now. And there's your tech tip of the day. Good luck. So one thing about crappie is, especially right now when they're schooling, is you really have to find the school. I mean, you can be within, you know, 10 feet of them and they won't bite. Which is why, you know, my bait was over here and nothing. Wade's bait was right, you know, 5 feet away, got hooked up immediately. This is when they're still schooling. Eventually, and honestly, this time of year they should be going to spawn. In Florida, they spawn late, so this is March 2nd. I mean, any day now, between now and April 1st, they're going to go to spawn. As soon as the water temperature gets a little bit higher, they're going to start to spawn. So once that happens, it's going to be totally different. We're going to have to fish for them in the pads, in the shallow water, but right now they're still schooled up deep. And it makes our job easier if you can find the school. Luckily, I know where the schools hang out, but if I didn't, we have Fish Finder. But luckily in this lake, they hang out in the same spots, so you can kind of have a good idea where to go.
The main thing is just finding deep pockets. Something that you can do that makes it kind of simple if you don't really know a lake super well. You can go to like a local fish shop or a bait and tackle shop and see if they have any maps of local lakes laying around.
Yeah.
And then from there you can see where the deeper areas are and kind of explore those areas.
Basically from November till about right now, they're going to be hanging out in a little bit deeper water. Luckily, this is the lake I grew up on, so I know where all the deep pockets are. But like Wade said, if you don't know, this is not a very big lake, but if it was a really big lake, you know, you'd spend a year trying to depth find it with a fish finder and all that stuff. So see if you can get a map of the lake, talk to a guy who knows where some of the holes are, and fish those holes. Once they spawn, it's totally different. They move into like 2 to 4 feet of water around vegetation, brush, and they start to bed. And that can be a really good time to fish for them because they're very aggressive, they protect their beds. But it's totally different. You know, instead of casting in 15 feet of water, you're casting in 3 feet of water back in the lily pads. So this lake has no shortage of lily pads, and once that happens, we're gonna do that. But as long as we can keep catching them here, that's what we're gonna do. Oh gosh! It's a slab! Slabs in the pads. Not quite.
Not quite.
Good one? Yeah, that's a good one. haven't hit the 14-incher on this lake, but I've gotten close. I've been hitting 12.5 inchers. One day I'm gonna catch a trophy out here.
Today, we're gonna catch a trophy.
Today.
This bucket's getting full.
It's actually a really healthy fishery because even though there's tons of speck out here, when a lake is, the speck have a habit of overpopulating lakes because they lay 40,000 eggs, whereas a bass might lay 5,000 eggs. And you have to understand only like 1% of them actually grow up. But normally when a lake's overpopulated, you catch a lot of small ones, like 6 inchers, because there's not enough food for them to go around. But this lake, man, I mean, there's a ton of speck out here, but they're all like 10 inches and up, so they're healthy. So this lake might actually need to be thinned out, and nobody, me and one other guy I know, fishes for them out here. And the main reason for that is there's no public access, so the public can't come out here and do this. Thankfully, yeah.
It's nice when you have to find this well.
I think the whole
Hooked up.
oh yeah, baby.
Nice sunfish.
Probably. No, nice back. Goodin'. Oh, doubled up. We're doubled up, boys.
Head shake. Oh, he's coming.
Another nice one.
A little smaller.
Really? That'll eat.
I'll go on a sandwich.
I wouldn't say that's small, 9 inches at least, 9 or 10 inches.
What's the limit?
25 a person. 50. I don't want to clean that many, but I will. Good boy.
Woo!
That's a 12 inch.
We're on them now. Golly, that's a good one.
That's a very nice.
Another one in the cooler.
Probably on. I would realize. Yeah, you're on. Doubled up. There you go, boys. Boys and girls.
Oh gosh.
Ooh, wait, it was a slab daddy.
Slab daddy.
I got my bait. I'm gonna give him another shot.
Throw him back out there. Put him back in, coach.
Old red dot. Producing again.
Little red dock.
Minnow's still swimming.
Huh?
Minnow's still swimming.
Mine is?
Oh,
Oh, we're on them now.
we're on them, boys.
Oh. She's spawning.
That's a good one. I might
Tell
let,
her she's going up and making beds.
I might let this one go. For good measure. A little bit on the smaller side. So I'm gonna, definitely still a good keeper, but I'm gonna let her go. If I can get the hook out. Dang. Wait, can you grab those pliers out of that tackle box? Like reaching the jaw. I gotta get my
run out there. Yeah. Run out of time.
Oh, here you go. Oh, once again, Wade knows what to do. Wade's hooked up. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a keeper. Oh, Wade, grab the camera. Grab the camera. I'm hooked up, boys. Oh yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one. Head shake. Oh. Oh, robbed.
Dude, this is definitely a lot of fun to do on the off season.
Once again, Wade helping me find the school. That one might be a small. Yeah, what's that one? That's a bass. Not the school. False alarm. This one. Mixed bag, bass. Nice.
Some freaking cross catch.
Another good. Let that one go. Gotta save some for next year, right? I mean, this is still definitely a keeper crappie, but we're catching so many that we're only going to keep the biggest ones. But if we've been having a slow day, we would be keeping these. You get one? Oh, you got one. Good one. That's a good one. Yeah. Well, we're back at the dock here. We had a great day on the water. I don't know, what we get, like 20 something maybe? Probably close to 20. We're gonna count them out and I'm gonna take them home and get them cleaned up, and I'm actually gonna have some for dinner tonight. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe you learned a thing or two. Now's the time of year to get out on the water, so go catch yourself some crappie, and we'll see you on the next one.